you want to?
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, we thank Almighty Allah for sparing our life and to make it possible to hold this meeting today. May He lead and guide us to the success of this meeting. In the mighty name of Allah, I pray. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
Yeah, Amen. Can we rise for the national anthem, please?
Nigeria, call, obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Please, let's be seated. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to the 17th Annual General Meeting of the company. In compliance with Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 and the Memorandum and Article of Association of the company, I confirm from the registrar that we have a quorum to constitute this meeting. We received the approval of the Corporate Affairs Commission, subsequently endorsed by the Securities and Exchange Commission and Nigerian Stock Exchange, to conduct this meeting via proxies. Our esteemed shareholders, regulators, and observers who are not physically present will therefore join us via streaming. As a corporate citizen, you would have observed that our company has ensured compliance by taking necessary health and other precautionary measures as stipulated by the federal, state, and health authorities. Moreover, I would like to inform members that in accordance with Section 301, subsection 8 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, the Register of Directors' shareholding and registers of directors' attendance at board meetings of the company are available for inspection during the meeting as statutorily required. Before we proceed to transact the businesses on the agenda, let me introduce the members of the board of directors of our company and the company secretary. As you have known, I am Iruna Ejibe, a non-executive director, representing Mr. Afam Edozie, the chairman of your company, who is unavoidably absent and sends his apologies, but will be joining us via electronic means. Mr. Edozie was appointed as the chairman of the company with effect from 7th September 2018. I would like to introduce my colleagues on the board. Each director, please, you would stand for recognition when introduced. Ms. Dr. Adebola Akindele, the Group Managing Director of the company. Thank you. Alhaji Adewale Shonaike, the Deputy Managing Director of the company. Mr. Oye Ogundele, the Executive Director of the company. Mr. Femi Adekoya, the Non-Executive Director of the company. Mr. Ladi Sonny, the Non-Executive Director of the company. I am also pleased to introduce Mr. Adekunle Shoibo, the representative of the law firm of Jackson, Etty and Edu as the company secretary. The annual reports and accounts contain the respective profiles of all the directors. In line with the approval received from the Corporate Affairs Commission for attendance of meeting by proxies, I would like to mention that the following directors and representatives of the members of the Audit Committee have been appointed as proxies to represent shareholders who cannot be physically present at this AGM. Mr. Femi Adekoya, Mr. Lawrence Jidua, Mr. Ayodele Ogundeji, Mrs. Temilade Durojaye, Ms. Iruna Ejibe, Dr. Adebola Akindele, and Mr. Wale Shonaike. I would also like to introduce the various professional parties who are working with and assisting the company in discharging its duties effectively, in no particular order. The company's external auditors, Abax OSA Professionals, represented by Mr. Baba Bode Oshunkoya. The EDC registrar, represented by Mrs. Mercy Onyejiowa. Our board, Mrs. Mercy, yeah. Our board consultants, the DCSL Corporate Services Limited, represented by Ms. Bisi Adeyemi, who's joining us via electronic means. The Nigerian Stock Exchange, represented by Mrs. Antonia Ame, who's joining electronic means. And the Securities and Exchange Commission, represented by Mr. Adewoyin Adeyemi. The Corporate Affairs Commission has informed us that none of their representatives will be physically present at this meeting. May I request that all devices should remain muted? For shareholders physically present, please note that roving microphones and amplifying equipment are available on the tables. When you are called upon to speak, an usher will hand over a microphone to you. I'll request that you speak clearly into the microphone. Please start by stating your name and your surname. I now call on the company secretary to read the notice convening this meeting as indicated on page 4 of the annual reports and accounts.
Mr. Chairman, the directors, distinguished shareholders, I now read the notice. Notice convening the 17th Annual General Meeting of Courteville Business Solutions, PLC. Notice is hereby given that the 17th Annual General Meeting of Courteville Business Solutions, PLC will hold at the Legation Hall, 4041, Industrial Avenue, Sabo, Yaba, Lagos, on Tuesday, 26th of July, 2022, at 11 a.m. prompt to transact the following businesses. The ordinary business. 1, to lay before members of the company the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2021, together with the reports of the directors, independent auditors, and the audit committee thereon. 2, to declare a dividend. 3, to elect or re-elect directors retiring by rotation. 4, to authorize directors to fix the remuneration of external auditors. 5, to elect members of the statutory audit committee. 6, to disclose the remuneration of the managers of the company. Now, special business. To consider and if thought fit, to pass the following as ordinary resolution. 1, that the director's remuneration for the year ending 31st December 2022 and for the succeeding years until reviewed by the company at its annual general meeting be and is hereby fixed at 10,300,000 naira only. 2, to consider and if thought fit, pass the following resolutions as special resolutions. 2A, that in compliance with the requirements of Section 124(2) of the Company and Allied Matters Act 2020 and the Companies Regulations 2021, and pursuant to Clause 10C of the Company's Articles, the share capital of the company be reduced from 1,800,000,000 naira divided into 3,600,000,000 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each to 1,000,000,000 naira 776,000,000 naira divided into 3,552,000,000 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each by cancelling 48 million unissued ordinary shares of 50 kobo each. 2B, that pursuant to the above resolution, Clause F of the Memorandum of Association of the company and Clause C of the Articles of Association be amended to reflect the new share capital of the company after the cancellation of the unissued shares as follows: that the share capital of the company is 1,776,000,000 naira divided into 3,552,000,000 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each. 2C, that the directors be and are hereby authorized to enter into and execute any agreements, deeds, notices, or other documents, and to perform all acts and to do all such other things necessary for or incidental to giving effect to the resolutions above, including without limitation, appointing such professional parties, consultants, and advisors, and complying with the directives of regulatory authorities. 3, to consider and if thought fit, pass the following resolutions as special resolutions. 3A, that the directors of the company be and are hereby authorized to commence the process of voluntary delisting of the securities of the company from the Nigerian Exchange Limited, subject to the applicable rules of the NGX and compliance with statutory requirements. 3B, that all relevant regulatory approvals from the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Nigerian Exchange Limited, the Federal High Court, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission be obtained in respect of 3A above, and shareholders who so elect should be given an exit opportunity before the security is delisted. 3C, that the company be re-registered as a private company under the Company and Allied Matters Act 2020 by the name Courteville Business Solutions Limited, and that its memorandum be amended accordingly as follows. In Clause D, by deletion of the words Public Limited Liability Company and substituting the words Private Limited Liability Company. 3D, that the directors of the company be and are hereby authorized to appoint such professional parties and advisors and to perform all such acts and do all such things as may be necessary for and incidental to affecting or effecting the above resolutions by the order of the board, the company secretary, dated 7th day of June 2022. May I, with the kind permission of the chairman, request that the notes to the notice be deemed as read.
Taken as read.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The chairman's statement is already distributed to members of the company and will be found on page 21 of the annual report. With your permission, I would like the shareholders to take the chairman's statement as read.
Taken as read, ma'am.
Thank you. However, comments on the statement will be taken during the question and answer session immediately after the laying of the accounts. The first item on our agenda for today is to lay before the members the financial statements of the company for the year ended 31st December 2021. The report of directors, together with the report of the independent auditors and the audit committee thereon. I wish to invite the company's auditor, Abax Osa Professionals, to present their report as could be found on page 59 of the annual report.
so it has to be read. Madam Chair, do I have your permission to limit the report to the opinion, key audit matters, and conclusion? For time. Thank you very much. Sorry. Please pardon me. Independent auditors report to the shareholders of Courteville Business Solutions PLC. Report on the audit of the consolidated financial statements. We have audited the consolidated financial statements of Courteville Business Solutions PLC, the group, set out on pages 64 to 98, which comprise the statement of financial position as at 31st December 2021, and the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, statements of changes in equity for the year ended 31st December 2021, and statements of cash flows for the year then ended, and notes to the financial statements, including summary of significant accounting policies. In our opinion, the consolidated financial statements present fairly, in all material respects, the financial position of Courteville Business Solutions PLC as at 31st December 2021, and its financial performance and cash flows for the year then ended, in accordance with the International Financial Reporting Standards and the requirements of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Securities and Exchange Commission rules and regulations, and Financial Reporting Council Act. Basis for opinion. We conducted our audit in accordance with international standards on auditing. Our responsibilities under those standards were further described in the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of financial statements section of our report. We are independent of the group in accordance with the International Ethics Standards Board for Accountants, Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants, Parts A and B, the IASBA Code, and other independence requirements applicable to performing audits of financial statements in Nigeria. We have fulfilled our other ethical responsibilities in accordance with the IASBA Code and in accordance with other ethical requirements applicable to performing audits in Nigeria. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. We conducted our audit in accordance with the international standards on auditing. Our responsibilities under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of financial statements section of our report. We are independent of the company in accordance with the IASBA Code, Parts 1, 3, and 4A, and other independence requirements applicable to performing audits of financial statements in Nigeria. We have fulfilled, again, our other ethical requirements in accordance with the IASBA Code and in accordance with other ethical requirements applicable to performing audits in Nigeria. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. Key audit matters. Key audit matters are matters that, in our professional judgment, were of most significance in our audit of the consolidated financial statements of the current period. These matters were addressed in the content of our audit, in the context of our audit of the consolidated financial statements as a whole, and in forming our opinion thereon, and we do not provide a separate opinion on these matters. One, we identify the impairment assessment of the investment in Zimbabwe as a key audit matter due to the significant judgments made by management about the possibility of future returns on these investments. Management's assessment process is highly judgmental and is based on assumptions that are affected by future market conditions or economic conditions, particularly those in Zimbabwe. As disclosed in Note 9, the carrying amount impaired and written off was 98,705,882. During the audit, we assessed the impairment methodology adopted by management, reviewed the reasonableness of key assumptions based on our knowledge of the country and geographical area, considered the disclosures made by management, and assessed its appropriateness. 2, investment property. The initial and subsequent recognition of investment property is a key audit matter due to the size of the transaction and the associated complex accounting issues surrounding the model of its recognition. The valuation is performed in accordance with IAS 40, which is based on the valuation process and value as determined by an independent valuer. We consider the objectivity, independence, and expertise of the valuer and appropriateness of the property-related data, including estimates used by the independent valuer, amongst others, rental value, vacancy rates, vacant value, exclusion of units belonging to other owners. The valuation of the investment property is set out on note 3 to the financial statements. 3, disclosure of legacy street software and recoverability of carrying amount. We identify the disclosure and recoverability of the carrying amount of legacy street software as a key audit matter due to significant judgments and key decisions made by management that could materially affect the decision-making of the users of financial statements. We understood the substance of all related transactions. We performed post-audit procedures to determine the recoverability of the receivable. We requested and reviewed all underlying contracts and other relevant documentation. Conclusion. As required by the Companies and Allied Matters Act, that in carrying out our audits, we consider and report to you on the following matters. We confirm that, 1, we have obtained all the information and explanations which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purposes of our audit. 2, in our opinion, proper books of accounts have been kept by the group, so far as appears from our examination of those books. And 3, the group's statement of financial position and statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income are in agreement with the books of accounts. Signed, Abaksuha Professionals, Chartered Accountants.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oshunkoya. It is now the time to consider the reports of the board evaluation consultants, and I now call on the representative of DCSL Corporate Services Limited to present same to the shareholders. Did you not say they were going to join online? Can we move?
Directors and distinguished shareholders, I'll be reading our report from page 45 of the annual report. My name is Ibrahim Anagbe, representing DCSL Corporate Services Limited, the Board of Evaluation Consultants. Report of the external consultants on the performance of the Board of Directors of Courteville Business Solutions PLC for the year ended December 31st, 2020. In line with the provisions of Principle 14.1 of the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance and 99 of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Corporate Governance, DCSL Corporate Services Limited was engaged by Courteville Business Solutions PLC to carry out an evaluation of the performance of its Board of Directors for the year ended December 31st, 2020. The appraisal involved the benchmarking of the performance of the board against the provisions of the SCGG and the NCCG, and entailed a review of the company's corporate and statutory documents, minutes of board and committee meetings, policies, and other auxiliary documents made available to us. We also administered questionnaires and conducted interviews with directors and some members of the executive management team. To ascertain the extent of compliance with relevant corporate governance principles and the performance of the board in general, we benchmarked the company's corporate governance structures, policies, and processes against the provisions of the SCGG and NCCG, as well as global best practices using the following 7 key corporate governance things. 1, board structure and composition. 2, strategy and planning. 3, board operations and effectiveness. 4, measuring and monitoring of performance. 5, risk management and compliance. 6, corporate citizenship. And 7, transparency and disclosure. Following the review of the policies and processes in place by the board, we confirm that the board has substantially complied with the provisions of the NCCG and SCGG as well as globally accepted corporate governance practices and is committed to ensuring sound corporate governance practices and setting the pace for the observance of high ethical standards and transparency in the conduct of the company's business. Details of our key findings and recommendations are contained in our report. Please accept the assurance of our highest regards and esteem. Yours faithfully, signed for this Corporate Services Limited. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I also call on the chairman of the audit committee, Mr. Femi Adekoya, to present the reports of the committee on the audited accounts to members.
Good morning, all. Can I crave the indulgence of the meeting to take the meeting a minute as read?
No, you cannot.
Okay, to the members of the members of Courteville Business Solutions PLC, in accordance with the provisions of Section 404, Section 4 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act of 2020, the members of the Audit Committee of Courteville Business Solutions PLC hereby report as follows. We have exercised our statutory functions in conformity with the provision of Section 404 of Section 7 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2021, and acknowledge the cooperation of the management and staff in the conduct of these responsibilities. The scope and planning of both the external and internal audit for 2021 financial year are satisfactory and in accordance with the company's internal control system and agreed ethical practices. The external auditors have also confirmed that necessary cooperation was received from the management in the course of discharging the statutory audit functions, and we are also satisfied with the external auditors' management's response to the recommendations on accounting and internal control matters. Members of the committee are Mr. Femi Adekoya as the chairman, Mr. Lawrence Jidra, member, Mr. Ayodele Ogundiji, member, Ms. Iruna Ejibe, member, and Ms. Timilade Durojai, member. All the committee meetings, the committee's audit committee meeting and members' attendance at these meetings for the period are detailed below. Mr. Femi Adekoya, board representative chairman, attended 4 times. Ms. Iruna Ejibe also attended the mandatory 4 times in the calendar year. Same goes for Mr. Lawrence Judra, Mr. Ayodele Ogundiji, and Ms. Timilade Durojai as shareholders representatives. In line with the provisions of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, Ms. Durojai was elected as a representative of shareholders at the 16th annual general meeting of the company held on 28th May 2021. The company secretary serves as secretary to the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adekoya. Distinguished shareholders, I hereby lay the financial statement for the year ended 31st December 2021 before you. We shall also entertain questions on the chairperson's statement earlier presented, together with the reports presented by other professionals. Please note, I will only recognize a member at a time. The floor is open. Yes, sir.
Good morning. The chairman of the meeting, the board members present, regulatory authorities, advisors, fellow shareholders, good morning. I'm delighted to be at this meeting, the AGM of Courteville PLC. First, well, I want to salute the visionary trend of the managing director, because he's the one who brought the management team together. One of such is where we are. How many companies ever thought of what to be likely happen in the future? Everybody is either going to a co-holiday, this or that. And I'm sure today, the kind of money that the company has saved by this particular edifice will be very substantial. I salute the courage of the visionary of the team. Many people always say, don't look at my present status, because that's who I am. I'm more than who I am. My future is better than what I am today. That is actually described the company as we see it today. There's a time that I want to call a turning point. When I'm studying mathematics in the school, at the turning point, it's either low or high. So this is a turning point of the company. First, I want to congratulate the company. Why? Anytime shareholder look at the account and there is no dividend, what to go paper? It's just a mere paper. But irrespective of what it is, there's a dividend. We are going to declare dividend. That shows they think about you and me. That's what it's all about. They did not bring this company to play. It's to be able to enrich Nigerians from their labor, from their expertise. They think of others. And I believe God will not leave them alone too. God will be thinking of them as they go along the line. But there are some lessons. Incidentally, I may be talking about that on the delisting, because that's the real crux of the matter. All the other ones you are talking about, figures, financial, whatever. It is activity that you do that generate the figures. But when I say delisting, I will support what the management supports about the delisting. Why? Whoever wears the shoes know where it pinches. And in the current situation in Nigeria, when we have regulators, we have government. I don't know whether we still have the government, because even when I'm coming here, I was afraid, so that the people at those side will not kidnap me, or they don't capture me. But they have to give me assurance that I'm safe. The NSA are not going to capture me. So that's what I mean. But should it be like that? That shouldn't be. People are working. What government is supposed to provide, they are the one providing it. And on top of it all, they still tax you. They penalize you. Then when you are saying, somebody say, well, let me go out first so that I can get my bearing right. Then I will now know whether I want to put my head there to shave it or not. Then you say you don't go. Why? That is the crux of the matter. Wholeheartedly, the managing will support you. But when you are going along the line, there are some cautions that you need to take too. One of them is the chairman of the audit committee. Please, you should note the culture, how you react to the shareholders. You give all respect that is due to us. This one, generally, is just word of advice. As you go along the line, just your processes, fine-tune them, know them, let it guide you. Those are very, very important. We support you. You too, carry us along. Then, today is not a day of talking too much. If you want to be talking too much, talking about what? I want to celebrate the company. And by the grace of God, in future, we'll come and celebrate to the more. In Jesus' name I pray.
Okay, do we have any other? Okay, so how many people do we have? I think we have two more, okay? So, ladies first, sir. Oh, okay, I thought it was a lady. So sorry, I saw red and I thought, apologies. All right, sir, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. I am representative of the chairperson. Having said that, I won't repeat what my senior has said, but my name is Prince Peter Enyanuku. Having said that, I congratulate the company for doing well. The turnover is really make me have interest in this company. First thing, we know that we are delisting out of Nigerian Stock Exchange, but we shareholders, we still love this company. Don't know how we're going to do it. Having said that, going to the account, the page 92, that's the administration expensive. I can see bad debt has really increased. I didn't know how you are going to manage the bad debt. The other one is the donation. I would like more explanation on that donation too. The entertainment, well, we like to know more about entertainment. Going to the last, other office expensive. We'd like to know more about that. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And then the last shareholder, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. All protocol duly observed. The name is Dr. Anthony Omani Omojola, National Coordinator, Independent Shareholder Association of Nigeria. Well, it's with mixed feelings I'm here. Mixed feelings in the first instance, we appreciate God for sparing our life and being able to witness today. We also thank God for allowing our company to be successful up to this point in time. Because the performance indices on pages 2 and 65 and thereabouts really show that they've done very well, at least this time around. And going out the way they want to go, or the notice that has been given. Looking at page 64, I can see that we have enough cash and cash equivalent that can sustain us. Ditto the retained earnings, which is 1.4 billion naira. So that would make us to be rest assured that going out is not because they don't have the liquidity. They must have a special reason or reasons for going out, which I will ask the MD to brief us about, so that we have something to take home. I can see some donations have been made as a good corporate citizen on page 23. And this year's did evaluation on page 40. wisdom, they've taken that on board, but to relate to the board and board alone, to me, that is not good enough. So that the essence of their work should be shown so that we can appreciate it going forward. One major thing I appreciate more today is the fact that while the company is trying to delist, they have shown the shareholder that we don't want to go with your dividend. And the name of shareholders entitled to dividend have been listed on pages 104 to 135 of this annual report and account. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I'm here, to tell the whole world that every shareholder should go and take their dividend from the registrars. The money is with the registrar, and the registrars are ready to give them. So for some of us who are not keyed into the e-platform, they should do that as quickly as possible, free their e-mandates, pass it on either online or physical to the registrars who will process and remit their dividends to them. So that at least, no matter how small they are, let it go to the rightful post because the company doesn't need the money. Otherwise, federal government may also look in that direction, and they'll be looking for money at all costs. Having said this, I said mixed feeling because we stayed along with our company. We've been supportive. Sometimes we don't hear their cries. Maybe they decide to keep the cries to themselves. But at this point, we want to understand that there are some underneath crying, which made them to take this decision. Even with the hope of they going out and coming back, we still want to partner with them, that next time they should not be too silent. They should take us on board. That's why you have a stakeholders meeting occasionally. Forget about what the regulatory authorities said, that you don't engage certain people. They want all the shareholders to be engaged, but that is practically not possible. Still have to engage some people. Even when you call 100 people to come here today, you find out that only a handful of them will come. So there are some of us that are still very reliable, and we've been very supportive of organizations, and we'll be ready to support as usual when called upon. Thank you for the opportunity to serve.
Thank you. Thank you. May I now call on the Group Managing Director of the company to respond to the questions raised by the members of the company.
Good morning, distinguished shareholders, members of the board of directors, our consultant, our auditors, and the regulators, and those that are online with us. I welcome you to Courteville and the annual general meeting to present and approve the 2021 financial report, auditor report for your company, Courteville Business Solutions PLC. Good morning once again. Good morning, sir. Yes, quickly, I thank our uncle, our Baba, for all the accolades, let me put it that way, that you have kindly laid on us at this session. We are getting used to it because we've had such a fantastic relationship with the shareholders as groups, as individuals over the past 14 years that we have been on the public space with you as our wonderful investors. As of the last count, I remember that we had over 2,000 shareholders. And that is something that we grew from when we went on private placement, before we went on private placement, from just about 4 of us. And in that space of time as well, we have grown from less than 15 of us as staff and management to over 250 across 2 continents. It can only be due to your belief in us, and the fact that God has always been with us all through. Whatever decisions we are taking is deliberately and specifically to take advantage of whatever circumstances are around us and position ourselves better for you, the owners. So thank you very much, sir. Prince Ita, questions regarding the bad debts. In doing what we had to do in the past year, it was necessary for us to clean up our stable. It was important for us to stop expecting, what we are not sure may be realizable. I'm an accountant, and auditors are also very clear as to what their requirements are. Their responsibilities are to ensure that our books are clean. We've had a few outstanding receivables, mostly, if not all of them, from states and government institutions, and we know how they are. They may be recovered eventually, as we have had the experience in recent times as well. But the accounting convention, is it convention or concept? I forgot to. Convention requires that we recognize potential losses as soon as they are, foreseeable, and that is why you see that huge move in bad debts. Where, if and when they come back, we will put them back. Yes, thank you very much. Regarding entertainment and office expenses, we resumed our activities in terms of staff engagements, and we had to do that because regardless of what the company is facing or has been facing on its own as an entity, the impact is also even more felt by the individual members of staff, just like any other Nigeria. We know what it has been in the past few years in Nigeria. And our usual sessions that we hold, both social and business sessions, we have fully resumed. We have resumed our training that we give to our management trainees across the country. We have done a lot of things going back to what our origins are in terms of how we engage the stakeholder staff, so that we ensure that we continue to be one family that we are. And that is why you see that bit of movement in both entertainment and office expenses. I hope that is okay for Mr. For Evangelist Modular, you've always been with us. So I'm sure you're noticing the indices is quite welcome. We've always had in that sector of the board, I mean of the stock exchange or the NGX, we've always shown ourselves to be, in terms of what our indices show. We show ourselves to be one of the best, if not the best. The only thing that does not reflect who we are and what we've been able to do will be the share price. And there isn't a lot that we have been able to do with that. And we say that you are right, that the reasons for the listing is not because of liquidity or profitability, as it were. It is essentially because we also know that we have become the golden fish, and we really, over the past decade, have not been able to hide ourselves. Not that we have any reasons to hide, but we attracted such attention to ourselves that it requires us to be the ones that become the flogging, child, the whipping boys of the community that we belong to, the stock exchange. The regulators have been, some of them are here, I'm not talking about you. but we've had our challenges because the attention that they attract, that this is a liquid company, this is, there is enough liquidity to do this. It actually gives us a lot of, it puts us on the spot. And we've had reasons why, what's it called, the desk audits are, backtracked and, backdated. They come around every time. We have to do a lot of things. So we need to do more in the area of strategizing. We do not want to avoid any of our responsibilities. But in order to do that, the liquidity that you noticed will allow us to be able to do better strategic diversification efforts that would let us play even stronger, in spaces that we have not been, not that we have not been able to, we haven't seen in the past. For example, we are creating subsidiaries in fintech space. We are creating subsidiaries in other service areas. We will need, because there are, for example, there are subsidiaries in the fintech space. The first one requires for us to have between 250 million and 500 million naira in investment in there. Let me inform everybody here that our Egole Pay Limited license, approval in principle license already came out. The deposit with Central Bank is still there. It's at least 250 million. We are still investing, but we are already seeing the results. We expect the second subsidiary investment to also come out anytime from now. We will need to put at least 100 to 150 million in there. So we are not worried about liquidity. In fact, the liquidity is what we want to put into better use rather than have it in cash, because the naira value has not really been kind to businesses. I will not want to say beyond that except to round up by saying thank you for what you have noticed in terms of what the audit committee has been able to do for us over the past 14 years. We got it right after maybe a year or so of our existence as a PLC, and we've had a smooth sail all through. Now, even in the delisting, I've given a few reasons why we are doing what we are doing. But the idea is for us to go back, repackage ourselves, re-strategize, come back a lot stronger. Our share for the 38 kobo has never, since 2009, when we went to list properly, when we picked that 3 naira 14 kobo, our share has never, our stock has never shown the intrinsic value that it should, that it actually has. And that is nothing to do, that has nothing to do with us. We have thrown everything that we can at it. As we speak today, I think 2 days ago it was 48 kobo. I don't know what it was yesterday, because for me it doesn't matter anymore. It just doesn't move. The needle doesn't move. And we are doing this, we are saying that we are better than what we have been shown to be. You remember that we were even placed at that lower board, the 20 kobo board. And it started coming up when, a few of us got information about the potential for us to do what we're about to do. And 48 kobo is still not close to what we are doing. I remind you of all the other companies that were around when to do what we went to do in 2008. More than 90% of them are already dead or not existing. Some of them have not bothered to even continue with listing. Some of them are not able to declare profit, not talk or pay dividends. We have only missed our dividend, as I promised that we will pay every year. We have only missed our dividend only over 3 years. As much as it's not enough for us to say we have given everything back, but we will come back. We will retain all the structure that we have as a PLC. All the committees hopefully will stand. We will retain our processes because they have made us the best that we can be. They have put us on our toes. We will continue to maintain all the required systems that are being proved to be the best for us and be best for the shareholders. I assure you of that. And in 2-3 years, I promise, inshallah, I promise that you will see us again. And also this period, you'll be hearing from us, hearing about us, and we'll make you proud. I thank you very much, and God bless you.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, GMD, thank you for always being candid and the courage you have shown. I hereby declare that the group audited accounts as at 31st December 2021 and the reports of the director's auditor's report and audit committee thereon is properly laid before the members of the company, and that the directors be discharged of their responsibilities to the company in respect of the audited accounts. In view of the government's restriction on public gatherings, attendance at this meeting is by proxy. We will reflect on the voting pattern in a minute based on the proxy form received as well as members present in person here. We will now proceed to vote on the various resolutions for the meeting. The registrars will guide us on this aspect of the voting to ensure that all votes are appropriately captured.
Good afternoon, sirs and ma'ams. Good afternoon, shareholders. As our mommy has said, this meeting is actually a proxy meeting. So the voting will be by proxy. So we are going with the proxy numbers that we have received. Thank you.
Thank you. Second item on the agenda is the declaration of a dividend. Based on the financial performance of the company during the year under review, the Board of Directors has recommended the payment of a dividend. As a result, I hereby move that a dividend of 4 kobo per share out of the profit after tax for the 12-month ended 31st December 2021 be and is hereby declared payable on the pro rata basis to the shareholders holding fully paid ordinary shares in the registers of members at the close of business Thursday, 9th day of June 2022. Would another shareholder please second the motion? I think they have a mic on that table. They've given him. Okay.
Hello. Thank you for giving this opportunity. My name is Jibuno Godfrey Uche. I am the National Youth Leader, Shareholders Association of Nigeria. I so do.
Thank you. Members can now vote in respect of this resolution. You have 30 seconds to vote. Registrars, please announce the result after the voting.
For the declaration of the dividend, the result is actually going to be by proxy because every proxy we received is 4. So we have, for number of shareholders, that number of shares, we have 2,386,746,699 shares, representing 139 shareholders. So it's 100%.
Thank you. Following the result announced by the registrar of the company, I hereby declare the resolution unanimously carried. The third item on our agenda is the re-election of the director who is retiring by rotation. In line with Section 285 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 and Article 34 sub 2 of the Companies Articles of Association, Mr. Oladimeji Sonny, being the longest-serving non-executive director on the board, is due to retire by rotation. Being eligible, he has offered himself for re-election. May I ask a shareholder to move that Mr. Oladimeji Sonny, who retires by rotation in accordance with Article 34 sub 2 of the Company's Articles of Association and Section 285 sub 1 of CAMA, and who, being eligible, has offered himself for re-election, be and is hereby re-elected as a non-executive director of the company.
My name is Benga Idowu of Shareholder United Front. I so moved.
Okay, thank you. Would another shareholder please second the motion?
All right, so second. Kolawole Ganiamo.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Members can now vote in respect of this resolution. Registrars, please announce the result after the voting. We're director.
For the third resolution to elect and re-elect directors retiring by rotation, we have 2,386,746,699 shares for 139 shareholders, 100% in favor.
Following the result announced by the registrar of the company, I hereby declare the resolution to re-elect Oladimeji Sonny as a non-executive director of the company unanimously carried. The fourth item on the agenda is to authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the company's auditors. The firm of Abax Osa Professionals, having served as the company's auditors for the 2021 financial year, have indicated their willingness to continue in office as the company's auditors in 2020 financial year. I hereby move the following motion. Be it resolved that the directors be and are hereby authorized to determine the remuneration of auditors who have indicated their willingness to continue in the office as the auditors of the company for the 2022 financial year. The fifth item on the agenda is the election of members of the Statutory Audit Committee. In line with the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, every public company must establish an audit committee. In accordance with Section 404 sub 3 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, the audit committee shall consist of 5 members, comprising of 3 members and 2 non-executive directors. The directors have nominated the following directors as their representatives on the audit committee: Mr. Femi Adekoya and Ms. Iruna Ejibe. However, 4 valid nominations were also received from the shareholders during the statutory period required for the nomination of members of the audit committee. The nominees are Mr. Matthew Aino, Mr. Ayodele Ogundeji, Mr. Lawrence Chidua, and Mrs. Temilade Durojai. Please note that there shall be no right to demand a poll on the election of members of the audit committee in compliance with Section 249 sub 3 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. The election of the members of the audit committee shall be done by show of hands. Each shareholder can only vote for 3 nominees. The 3 nominees with the highest votes will be deemed elected. We shall now vote by raising our hands as the name of each candidate is put forward. I think if we can invite the nominees.
Hello, madam. If there's no any person or more than 3 persons, no need of the election.
There are 4.
There are 4 already. There are 4.
There are 4.
But who can announce them? Who can confirm them?
The representatives of the registrars are kindly requested. No? Oh, there are 4. One is not in it.
Come now. I open up your
Madam, see, you call the names, we vote, then you know.
So the vote can continue. We have to vote.
So we're still going to vote. Like the chairman has said, the registrars will help us count. We'll call out the names. Unfortunately, one of them is not currently present here. We have 3 people present, and that is Ogundeji Moses Ayodele, G. Duwa Lawrence Nundubusi, and Drojaye Temilade Fumilayo. No, that's Lawrence is Jibua. Yes, I've announced his name. The person that's not here is Aino Matthew Olawale, but we'll call all of them forward, right? And we would vote by show of hands. So first person is...
Please, we have been having a very good meeting. don't dabaru the meeting. We don't want confusion. Audit committee election is by show of hands, and there is no requirement more than you call the name. Which shareholder will raise our hand? You can't finish. Nothing required.
That's what
Whether they are here or not here, we vote.
That's what I just said. So we're going to call all of them forward, right? And we'll vote. We'll call their names. We are going to call their names, yeah. We'll call their names and we'll vote.
How are you going to get them forward?
No problem, sir. We'll call their names and they'll vote. So first is Jidua Lawrence Undubusi. Shall we vote?
Yeah, everybody.
Registrar, please help us.
It's only shareholders to raise their hands.
When is at your back? Don't give up the issue. Give it to next person.
Next is I know Matthew Olawale.
Next year.
Next year. Matthew Olawale.
Come next year.
The last one is Drojaye Temilade Mulayo.
Unopposed. Unopposed. Unopposed.
Thank you. I now read the results of the votes. Mr. Lawrence Jidua, 16 votes. Mr. Ayodele Ogundeji, 19 votes. Mrs. Temilade Drojaye, 18 votes. Mr. Aino Matthew, no votes. Thank you.
Jidua. Okay. I now move the motion that the appointment of Mr. Lawrence Jidua, Mr. Ogundeji, and Mrs. Drojaye as the representatives of the shareholders on the statutory audit committee of the company for the 2022 financial year be and hereby approved. Would another shareholder please rise and second this motion? Please, sir.
Jibuno Godfrey is the name. I second that motion.
Thank you. I hereby declare the motion unanimously carried. So, distinguished shareholders, it's my honor, and I hereby present to the members of the members of the audit committee for the 2022 financial year as follows. The nominees, please stand for recognition as you are called. Yeah. Mr. Jidua. Mr. Ogundeji.
Step out.
Mrs. Drojaye. Mr. Femi Adekoya.
Step out.
Ms. Iruna Ejibe. The sixth item on our agenda is the disclosure of the remuneration of managers of the company. Section 238 of CAMA 2020 provides that the disclosure of the remuneration of managers of the company be done at this meeting. Accordingly, this item is provided for on page 92 of the annual reports and accounts for the information of the members. Ladies and gentlemen, the next on our agenda is to consider the special businesses. The first special business being item 7 on the notice of meeting is to approve directors' remuneration for the 2022 financial year. I hereby move that the directors' remuneration for the year ending 31st December 2022 and for succeeding years be and is hereby retained at the sum of 10,300,000 naira only until further reviewed by the company at its AGM. Seconder.
I, Peter Ayano, I so do.
Thank you. You may now proceed to vote.
For this resolution, we have 139 shareholders for 2,286,746,699 votes in favor of the resolution.
I declare the resolution unanimously carried. Thank you. So we're moving to our item 8 on issued shares. This resolution is being passed to enable the company to comply with the provision of CAMA 2020, Companies Regulations 2021, and the issued circulars that stipulates that the issued shares of any company must not be less than its minimum issued share capital as at 31st of December 2022. This implies that all the share capital of any company must be fully allotted by 31st December 2022, and in effect dispenses with any unissued share in the capital of the company. Be it resolved that in compliance with the requirements of section 124 subsection 2 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 and the Companies Regulations 2021, and pursuant to clause 10C of the Company's Articles of Association, the share capital of the company be reduced from 1,800,000,000 divided into 3,600,000,000 ordinary shares of 50 kobo to 1,776,000,000 naira divided into 3,552,000,000 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each by cancelling 48 million unissued ordinary shares of 50 kobo each. That pursuant to the above resolution, clause F of the Memorandum of Association of the company and clause 6 of the Articles of Association be amended to reflect the new share capital of the company after the cancellation of the unissued shares as follows. The share capital of the company is 1,776,000,000 naira divided into 3,552,000,000 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each. that the directors of the company be and are hereby authorized to enter into and execute any agreements, deeds, notices, or any other documents, and to perform all acts and to do all such things necessary for or incidental to giving effect to the resolutions above, including without limitation appointing such professional parties, consultants, and advisors, and complying with the directives of the regulatory authorities. Seconder. Voting, please.
We have 139 shareholders and 2,386,746,699 votes in favor of the resolution.
Thank you. I hereby declare the resolution unanimously carried. Item 9, delisting. As part of its recent strategic decision, the board of directors of the company has resolved that the securities of the company be delisted from the Nigerian Exchange Limited. The board of directors also resolved that the company be re-registered as a private company under the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. Be it resolved that the directors of the company be and are hereby authorized to commence the process of voluntary delisting of the securities of the company from the Nigerian Exchange Limited, subject to the applicable rules of the NGX and compliance with other statutory requirements. That all relevant regulatory approvals from the Securities Exchange Commission, Nigerian Exchange Limited, the Federal High Court, and the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission be obtained in respect of 3A above, and shareholders who so elect should be given an exit opportunity before the security is delisted. That the company be re-registered as a private company under the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 by the name of Courtevillebusiness Solutions Limited, and that its memorandum of association be amended accordingly as follows. In Clause D, by the deletion of the words Public Limited Liability Company, and by substituting the words Private Limited Liability Company. That the directors of the company be and are hereby authorized to appoint such professional parties and advisors, and to perform all such acts and do all such things as may be necessary for or incidental to affecting the above resolutions. Would another shareholder please second the motion?
I, Jibuno Godfrey Uche, I second that motion.
Voting, please.
We have 139 votes, representing 2,386,746,699 votes in favor of the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. I hereby declare the resolution unanimously carried. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of the business of this meeting. I would like to use this medium to appreciate all our shareholders, directors, and professional partners for your support during the year. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I thank you for your attendance. I hereby declare the meeting closed. May I invite a shareholder to give us a closing prayer before we sing our national anthem? Yes, Baba.
Please, may I indulge all of us to stand up for Christian prayer. In Jesus' name. Father, we thank you for the wonderful opportunity you are giving us as individuals to experience Courteville, that you are giving vision to the management to bring forward. We have participated in the wealth that we have helped this company to bring forward to us. We are commending the board and directors of this company to your care. Protect them, O Lord. Grant them vision. Grant them wisdom and understanding that the venture that they want to do more to bring this company to more limelight that you have given them, you will grant them that vision and you will help them. You will guide their steps. You will protect them against the factories of Nigeria, that they will do the needful. And Father, we commend ourselves to your hands, that we will stay alive and benefit from the vision you have given this company. We thank you, O Lord, that all this we ask, you will grant us. In Jesus' name I pray.
May we recite the national anthem? Or no? No national anthem. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.